Sudan will deploy a large numbers of troops to South Darfur state after the killing of 15 people in tribal violence recently. It comes less than a week after the UN Security Council agreed to end the United Nations African Union mission in Darfur when its mandate expires on December 31st. The withdrawal of the UN mission, deployed since 2007 and which had 16,000 peacekeepers at its peak, will begin January 1st and is expected to be completed by June 30th. President Donald Trump is urging supporters to mass in Washington on January 6th for a last-ditch rally to pressure Congress to not certify Joe Biden's election victory. Thousands of supporters from around the country, from the Women for America First group to Stop the Steal to the Violent Proud Boys, are expected to descend on the U.S. Capitol, pressing President Trump's claim that massive voter fraud was behind his defeat in the November 3rd election. President Trump tweeted twice this weekend, urging supporters to attend, labeling the election the biggest scam in our nation's history. Bangladesh started moving a second group of Rohingya Muslim refugees to a low-lying island in the Bay of Bengal on Tuesday, a naval official said, despite opposition from rights groups worried about the new site's vulnerability to floods. Navy Commodore Abdullah Al-Ma'moon Chaudhry said the 1,804 Rohingya were being moved in 7 ships to Bhasan Char Island. A first group of more than 1,600 Rohingya, members of a minority group who have fled from Myanmar, were relocated from their camps near the Myanmar border to Bhasan Char earlier in the month. The novel coronavirus has had a devastating impact around the globe, but the World Health Organization warned Tuesday that worse pandemics could lie ahead, urging the world to get serious about preparedness. This is a wake-up call, WHO Emergencies Chief Michael Ryan told reporters at a briefing marking a year since the UN agency first learned of the new virus spreading in China. Since then, COVID-19 has killed nearly 1.8 million people around the world, out of over 80 million infected. Ryan acknowledged this pandemic has been very severe. The head of its Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, said on Tuesday the Philippines has approved the clinical trial for the COVID-19 vaccine of Johnson & Johnson's unit Janssen. FDA head Rolando Enrique Domingo told a media briefing the trials could begin in the next few weeks. Domingo said the FDA is still evaluating the late-stage trial applications of Sinovac and Clover. India has found 6 people were returned from Britain in recent weeks infected with a more infectious strain of the coronavirus that has prompted a wave of panic and border closures around the world. All 6 patients have been kept in isolation, the health ministry said in a statement on Tuesday, adding that their fellow travelers were being tracked down. The ministry said India has suspended all flights from Britain until the end of the month, but about 33,000 passengers had flown in from late November before the ban came into place. A study by the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine has concluded Britain must vaccinate 2 million people a week to avoid the third wave of the coronavirus outbreak. The study said the most stringent intervention scenario, with Tier 4 England-wide and schools closed during January and 2 million individuals vaccinated per week, is the only scenario we considered which reduce peak ICU burden below the levels seen during the first wave. It said an accelerated uptake of 2 million vaccinated per week is predicted to have much more substantial impact. According to health authorities, China has reported 27 new cases of the coronavirus, of which 12 were imported and 15 were locally transmitted. The National Health Commission reported on Tuesday 8 of the new domestic cases were logged in northeast China's Liaoning province and 7 in Beijing. The national capital has entered emergency mode in response to the new cases, with some villages in Chunyi district completely sealed off. South Korea on Tuesday announced a record 40 deaths from COVID-19 as daily coronavirus cases rose to more than 1,000 again, and the government moved to procure more vaccines. The daily death toll, the highest since the country reported its first case of coronavirus in late January, comes amid a stubborn third wave of infections that have forced the authorities to tighten social distancing measures amid what media outlets described as a looming medical system crisis. The Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency said the country added 1,046 more cases, including 1,030 local infections, raising the total caseload to 58,725. Russia on Tuesday reported more than 3 times more coronavirus deaths than previously announced, making it the nation with the third highest number of fatalities as countries across the globe ramped up vaccination campaigns in a bid to beat the pandemic. More than 1.76 million people have died since the virus crisis erupted a year ago, upending lives and casting the global economy into chaos, with the United States and Brazil accounting for the most fatalities. Russia's Rosstat statistics agency said that the number of coronavirus deaths between January and November was 186,057, a huge jump from previously reported numbers from health authorities of 55,265 deaths from the disease. The United States has topped 19 million COVID-19 cases as hospital intensive care units remained filled to overflowing across much of California, a major coronavirus hotspot. Governor Gavin Newsom said mandatory constraints on gatherings and business activities would almost certainly be renewed for at least 3 more weeks in Southern California, encompassing the state's biggest metropolitan areas and its agricultural heartland, the San Joaquin Valley. Hospitals across California and in many parts of the country have been strained to the brink all month under a mounting surge of coronavirus cases, fueled by increased holiday season travel and socializing by Americans disregarding public health warnings. France Minister Anton Silanov said Russia will scale down its state support of the economy in 2021, eyeing rising costs on servicing burgeoning state debt in the fallout of its response to the COVID-19 pandemic and the collapse of oil prices. Running out of options to bolster public finances, Russia has more than doubled its domestic borrowing in 2020, raised same taxes and increased state spending as it relaxed its budget rule that shields the economy from external shocks. The minister said Tuesday Russia's extra state spending to support the economy this year reached 4.5% of gross domestic product and will shrink to 1% of GDP in 2021. Small drones will be allowed to fly over people and at night in the United States, the Federal Aviation Administration, or the FAA, said on Tuesday, a significant step toward their use of widespread commercial deliveries. The FAA said its long-awaited rules for the drones, also known as unmanned aerial vehicles, will address security concerns by requiring remote identification technology in most cases to enable their identification from the ground. Previously, small drone operations over people were limited to operations over people who were directly participating in the operation, located under a covered structure or inside a stationary vehicle, unless operators had obtained a waiver from the FAA.